Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Songwriter Spotlight. It's brought to you here from the West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center in Brownsville, Tennessee. We're home of the West Tennessee Music Museum, the Sleepy John Estes Home, as well as the Tina Turner Museum. My name is Sonia and I am your host for this evening. Please help me in welcoming Katherine and Marc Bryan. Thank you guys for being with us. I'm excited to have another duo on the program, and I'm looking forward to hearing your music this evening.
Thanks for having us. Great to be here.
Let's go ahead and start where we always do. First things first. Marc, how about you tell us when your journey with music started?
It started when I was about 3. I listened to my dad's record collection of early rock and roll things. Like the Everly Brothers and doo-wop music and Chuck Berry and everything. I was like really, my earliest memories are just of learning how to use the turntable. Then when I was a few years later, I guess I was 11 or 12, I started teaching myself guitar. Haven't really let go of it since.
What about you, Katherine?
Yeah, I grew up in a home where there was a lot of music and singing. My grandmother sang and a choir, and my mom was always singing just for fun. And some of my earliest memories are related to like being in preschool and enjoying singing little songs. And I was in the little children's choir at church. So that's kind of where I started off, and eventually did continue to do some singing, so that I joined the Rhodes College Singers when I was in college and really enjoyed that. That's where I was very challenged and really started learning how to sing harmonies. I had listened to harmonies and loved them. Like my dad liked to listen to Peter, Paul and Mary and Kingston Trio and other groups from the 60s that had harmonies. So I was always attracted and drawn to that. But I did not play guitar. I played piano and flute a little bit, and I didn't really think much about songwriting until I was well into adulthood. So it kind of became a new thing for me, and then when we got together, it really just kind of grew from there, and I did learn to start playing guitar so that we could do some things together.
So Marc, were you writing your own music before then?
I tried my hand at it from pretty much the beginning of when I started playing guitar, but I was never happy with anything that I wrote at all, so there's not a lot that survives from that period. But I thought in terms of songwriting, and the way that I learned guitar was by just listening, just by ear, by listening to songs and sort of analyzing them. So I was interested in how songs were put together, so I would try to do that myself.
What's the first song y'all are going to play for us tonight?
This first song is a song that I wrote. How we got together was we found out that we were both interested in music, but I had written a bunch of lyrics that I had no idea what to do with, didn't know how to put them to music. Marc composed a lot of instrumental music and wanted to see what some of it might turn into as a song. And so when we discovered that, that was kind of the first thing that we did together. Was I sent him some lyrics and he sent me some music, and this song, Unforever Love, is a song that I wrote the lyrics for a long time ago, but as we started getting together, we figured out how to put it to music. So it's a song that is kind of a semi-feminist take on like the dating scene and being out and about, and that not just guys, as is somewhat stereotypical of like, oh, you just want to have fun and no attachments and everything. This is kind of a female version of that song to some degree. So it's called Unforever Love. You ready? What would you say if I told you I'm not looking for a ring? I just want a little amusement, babe, a carefree little fling. You might think I'm joking, or
what do you find inspires your music?
Wow. Usually it's just a phrase or idea or something, a story, or an image. I like imagery. I definitely that's in a couple of the lyrics that I started off with. Yeah, I don't know, just something. I might be in the car and I might hear something on the radio, either another song or somebody talking, and I'm like, oh, that could be a song. So I don't know. How do you do it? How do you come up
You're
with
the
it?
lyrics person. For me, lyrics don't come nearly as easily, or ideas for lyrics. It sometimes feels like pulling teeth. But usually, when it does happen, it's because I stumble across a chord progression or something musically that catches my ear, and maybe a phrase will come along with it, and I'll just build from there. But Katherine usually has more of an independent idea for this is a good idea for a song, and then starts from there. I kind of skip ahead a little bit and wait for the form of it to sort of stick in my mind, which is a slower way to do it. But.
So is music something that you practice every day? Do you play every day? Do you write every day?
I wouldn't say I write every day. I try to practice every day because that's definitely something as a growing guitar player I really need to be doing. We practice when we can several times a week, and sometimes for longer sessions, sometimes shorter. Writing is really not something I just kind of set myself like I'm going to write a song. Although that's happened a couple times where just with a prompt from a Songwriters Association or something like that. But generally, it's just when an idea comes to me. So like the most recent song that we wrote, I was just sitting playing around with the guitar and a phrase came into my head. And yeah, I'm not a disciplined songwriter and not a prolific one like some of our friends.
So do you actually create together, or do you do your separate thing and then come together when you've got it all worked out?
It spans the spectrum from her having like an entire song written out basically, and I'll come in more as maybe as far as the lyrics go, sort of an editor, and say, it'll sing better if you shorten this phrase. That's kind of the way I think we work best, because she's really the lyrics person, but because I'm more the music guy, and it really works out for us. There are some lyrics that are mine and some music that's hers, but generally it's the majority the other way around.
Yeah, so there was at least one song that we did where it came from the CD that he had sent me of his instrumental music, like way back when he first was trying to kind of get me interested in, or willing to work with him on this stuff. To work on it. And one of those, we were listening to those instrumentals on a little road trip, and we just started saying, well, let's see if we can figure out a song to that. So that's how one of our songs came, was listening to that instrumental. I listened to it over and over, and we were going for sort of a kind of simple, not really a story, but just I don't know how you describe it, but just a simple song, like a playful pop type song. And that's how that song came together.
Well, I just feel like there's not enough of that in a lot of the acoustic music that you hear. A lot of it's sort of, downbeat, more about introspective, I guess would be the word, the person's feelings and emotions or some experience. But it's also nice to have like just a fun song, that doesn't necessarily go any deeper than that. A lot of the songs I grew up on are like that. So this was one that we sort of consciously tried to take that approach.
Called Being With You. We're going to do that a little bit later. The one we were going to do next is one that Mark wrote.
This is one that goes back to, I guess I've been playing for a few years. I was about 19 or 20 or something, and I had a little spurt of songwriting, some songs those are probably the first songs that include any that I would still play today. I was trying to write a country song that lyrically didn't just fall into the, drinking, crying in your beer sort of lyric, but it's kind of self-explanatory.
But it's kind of along those lines, though.
Still, it's not the only way to drown your sorrows, you know. So I thought I would try to inject maybe some more modern.
It's called a refill of you.
A refill of you.
Yeah. Okay.
I woke up wondering how I made it home. I checked my pockets to see what I still owned. $1 bill, some yellow pills, I guess they'll have to do. But I wish I had a refill of you. I went out last night trying to forget you. This morning you're the first thing on my mind. You'll stay in my heart forever if I let you. 'Cause I can't seem to leave the past behind. The doctor never has too much to say. He gives me these and sends me on my way. He says take them as needed, but the way that I've been treated, I know they'll only last a few more days. 'Cause I need a lethal dose to get me going. Another one at night to get me through. It's too late now, I had no way of knowing. The side effects don't include getting over you. I know you're never coming back to me, but I don't need advice or sympathy. As long as I have my supply, I guess that I'll make do. But I wish I had a refill of you. Yes, I wish I had a refill of you.
Mark, you talked about your early influences being rock or out of the rock genre, but you seem to be a little more country now.
Well, that was definitely, I grew up in Dyersburg, so that was definitely in my bloodstream from a young age, without me realizing it. Then as I got older, I started being more conscious of how much I've been influenced by the sound of the early country music, particularly like from the 60s and early 70s. I didn't think I liked it when I was a kid. I wanted to hear, the Coasters or Buddy Holly, but the country was always there growing up where I did, and part of my musical DNA. It definitely plays a more obvious role now in what I do.
What about you, Catherine? What was your early influences?
I listened to the top 40 radio. I didn't really have much of a musical pedigree of any kind as far as like knowing all the bands and everything, but I liked popular music, and I did was kind of drawn to old country music too, and a little bit because my grandfather, it was always on the radio in their house in Shreveport, and so when we do those songs now, when we cover those old country songs, it definitely like kind of takes me back to that to those visits and everything.
How'd y'all get together?
We were working at the same nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
How did we figure out our mutual?
Well, I think we were at some kind of work luncheon thing or something, and we just happened to be sitting by each other, and it just somehow just came up. Like because we weren't. I wouldn't say we were good friends right away. We didn't work. Our paths didn't cross that much in our work projects and things, but we just were always kind of aware of each other, and but that conversation, I think at lunch or something, somehow came up about my writing lyrics and him being a guitar player, and that's kind of how it got started. And then it was a number of years between that conversation
plotting
and us.
then.
Yeah.
Here's somebody. I just had a feeling that I hadn't seen anything she'd written or heard her sing or anything, but we got along well, and I thought, I just feel like this is somebody who I could do some interesting music with.
What we've been doing, so it's really
Ever
fun.
since.
Yeah, it's really fun. We have a good time. We have a good chemistry with each other in terms of like we like to practice kind of the same way. We come at it kind of the same way. We take it seriously the same way. We like a lot of the same stuff, but we're open to each other's, ideas of like, well, maybe we should do this or do that. So it works.
Tell me about the next song you're going to play.
This is another one that dates back, like I said, to when I first started feeling like maybe I could actually write songs. Here's another one that survived, and this is probably one of the reasons I started plotting as soon as we realized that we each were as interested in music as we were when we met at work. Because when I wrote it, I had always I never really saw myself as a kind of front man in a group or anything. But I always had this sort of fantasy that like a good role for me would be like to back up a female singer and be sort of maybe the songwriter, arranger, guitar player. And that's the way I always pictured the song, even though I would sing it. I really, changed the pronouns so I could sing it as a male voice, but it was written to be sung by a female. And so this is probably the first thing that popped in my head when I realized Katherine was into music. I was like, I bet she could sing this one, and it turns out she can very well.
Thank you.
It's called Love's Gonna Get You.
about your finger picking? You're pretty accomplished at this.
Well, when I'd been playing for years and years, and I just felt like I was stagnating as a player, and I had a blues compilation that had a song by Mississippi John Hurt on it, and that's his whole style is finger picking. And for some reason, I'd heard that style of playing before, but I don't know, this particular song was called Ain't No Tellin', and it just knocked me over. And I said, that's the way I want to play. So I sat down with it, and it was excruciating because I'd been playing for so many years. I was in a comfort zone, you know, and I had to actually go back to where I was, you know, learning things like that again, which I hadn't done in a long time. And it took a lot of patience, and it was kind of humiliating, to be honest. But but I finally was, you know, able to learn some of those techniques. So he's been probably my instrumental, you know, hero ever since then. And then that expanded to other Delta music. But he was so different than the other guys. He just had his own style. And so John Hurt, Reverend Gary Davis, Blind Boy Fuller, all those guys were a big influence at that point. And that it just rejuvenated my, you know, like I said, I've been kind of feeling stagnant on the guitar and wasn't playing as often, and it really gave me a shot in the arm right when I needed it. And it's great music. Everybody should check it out.
Well, how can folks find more of your music? Can they follow you on social media? Do you have a website? How can they learn more?
You're gonna Mark's not the social media guy. I am. Yeah, we do have a Facebook page where we go by Eager Street on Facebook. That's our little duo name. And so some of our music is on there. And we recently started talking about working on an album of our original songs. We haven't really gotten started much yet with it. We've done a little playing around with them, but hopefully within the next year or so, we'd like to get that out and do that. And we just kind of play, you know, before the pandemic, we were getting a little bit more involved in going out and playing, and then obviously everyone safely stayed home. So we're just now kind of getting back into it a little bit.
You were telling us earlier about a song. Refresh our memory on that. I believe it was the Fun Song, right?
This is a song, I was using it as an example of when the music is completely done, and it's a matter of coming up with lyrics to fit the music rather than the opposite. And this is what we came up with.
It's a fun little ditty, light little ditty where Mark said, why don't you stop looking at your phone and write a song? And we were on a road trip, and I said, okay, well, here you go. So this is what happened. I don't care when you're with me.
all for joining us tonight. I know you've enjoyed Marc and Katherine as much as I have. Please join us again in 2 weeks for another spotlight. I have to ask you both the obvious question. Who realized first that it was more than a music partnership?
Wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, long before I did. Yeah. Yes, that is true. I actually, like, he would bug me at work. Like, he would just bug me because he was too nice. Like, and he just would say hi. And I don't know why it bothered me. I guess I just didn't believe that somebody could just like me that much and
Probably
just be
seems
nice.
too good to be true. I mean,
Yeah, I know. What do you
come on.
And I mean, he just, I'd walk by him and just like you do in an office, I'd be, hey, how are you? He's like, better now. Those are the kind of, he would just say stuff like that. And I guess I just, I wasn't really in a place in my life at that point to like, and neither was he. We weren't really in a place to get together. And so, but it was a kind of fun chemistry of just kind of playing off of each other and stuff. And then, I don't know, I would say that definitely once we started talking music, we just got closer. And then I would just say he grew on me.
Well, thank y'all for being here this evening. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thanks for
So
having us.
it's been great.
Yeah. So what do you have to play us out on?
This is a beautiful song that Katherine wrote, a beautiful lyric that I helped her with the music for. Another one of the initial set that she showed me that I looked at, and I didn't know what to expect. I thought it would be more like somebody's poetry that they'd scribbled or something, but they were like songs. They already looked and were structured like songs, so I was really impressed. And this was one of my favorites, so this is one of the first that we worked on together.
Yeah. It's called Half Moon Over Memphis.